You are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And, well, we went 1-1 last week. To finish our preseason at 6-8, by far our best preseason in history.
No, 6 of 8, not 6 and 8.
Oh, yes.
6
Sorry.
of 8.
Yes.
6 and 2.
Once again, we had the winners in our discussion. We've made 2 bad decisions in the last 2 weeks, but we're still always talking about games we could have had. We were choosing the right sides, we just didn't put them in the final thing. But it's preseason, so who the hell cares?
Yeah, if we can go that percentage in the regular season, I'd be happy.
Oh, I'd be thrilled.
We'd make good money.
Yeah.
To win 6 out of 8 all the time.
Because with typical vigorish, all you need is 54% against the spread to make money.
Yeah.
Typically. So we hit on Denver, and we failed on Seattle. And who the hell saw that coming from Oakland, honestly?
Well, and Derek Carr is now the starter based on that game in Oakland. They named him the starting quarterback. Wow. Matt Schaub has got Jake Delhomme syndrome, so he's done.
He looks like a
Houston got a steal just even getting anything
recon
for him.
veteran from Vietnam. He just looks shattered, and his eyes look destroyed.
Well, you would too if the home team was booing you, or the home fans were booing you.
And they're Oakland.
Oh, no, not there. I'm talking about last year.
Oh, yeah.
Getting booed.
But that happened to Alex Smith, and he recovered. I mean, San Francisco was cheering for Carr's elder brother at one point.
Yeah, well, the Alex Smith got a stupid deal too. That was $45 million guaranteed. Holy fuck! I got to start throwing a football through a tire at night because that's ridiculous.
He's not terrible, but yeah, that deal is way out of line. So, as we've been doing in the preseason, and this is our last single week podcast, coming up in the future, we will be recording a recap podcast that will come out, I guess, early Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
And then we will be doing our picks every Tuesday because we like the early lines. We like to hit those lines before they get battered around by sharps. So this is our last one, and what we've done in these preseason ones is we've talked about the HBO series Hard Knocks, which I will confess I haven't watched this week's episode yet.
Damn you.
I've been really busy.
Come on, man.
I know.
Honestly,
honestly, it slipped my mind. It slipped my mind entirely this week. And I've never been a huge fan of the final week of Hard Knocks.
No, and to recap it, it wasn't the greatest episode. They showed their game against Jacksonville, showed those highlights. TJ Yates had a good game. He made the team. And it was mostly they followed around the rookies who were on the bubble and showed them with their girlfriends or their moms, had an off day, getting massages and going shopping, playing golf, whatever. It wasn't the greatest episode. The one interesting point that came out was that Brian Cox, his wife won't let him smoke his big cigars in the house.
Oh, so that's why they were by the pool all the time.
Yeah, so he's sitting at the pool, or sitting out on his patio, smoking a cigar, and they're talking to him. He's like, yeah, my wife won't let me smoke them in the house, and she hates the smell of cigars on me. He says, so I have to have a shower after each time I have a cigar. So he says, like, I shower 3 times a day. I'm like, holy shit.
And it also washes the glitter from the strip bars off.
Yeah. So that was one of the more entertaining parts of it. If anybody else has been watching that's listening, Ryan Starr made it. White kid from North Dakota, 7th-round pick. A linebacker who is primarily a special teams player right now. But he was one of the prominent storylines throughout all 5 episodes, so he made it. The linebacker Shembo made it. Jaquez Smith, the other linebacker they drafted, basically was put on the practice squad because getting kicked out of the Titans game for throwing a punch, and they were teaching or preaching discipline through the whole season at practice and meetings and everything.
Well, I liked him during the series quite a bit too, so...
Yeah, I thought he was better than Starr. But Starr played better on special teams from what they showed, and they can frame it any way they want. But from what they showed us, that's where these guys were going to play and where they were going to use them. So if they're not going to play on the field and they're not as good as special teams, Starr made it. And Ricardo Allen, the 5th-round pick at cornerback, was put on the practice squad as well. And those were the main guys. Amsterdam, the wide receiver from Amsterdam, obviously. That's where he got the nickname from. I can't remember his name.
I can't pronounce his name.
And he was cut because of a hamstring injury, or he probably would have been on the practice squad.
Yeah, and so he reached an injury settlement, too. So when you reach that settlement, that's actually kind of a positive thing. He's still available for both the practice squad once he's been medically cleared to play.
Yes. Well, then he's available to every other team, though, too.
He's still got to clear waivers like everybody else.
Yeah. So there's that. And that was basically it. There wasn't a lot in the episode. They rolled Jacksonville in the preseason game, and they did a tour, or they actually have an office downtown by their new stadium, where their new stadium's being built. And they had Arthur Blank, the owner who owns Home Depot. They had an office there where they just have a mock-up of the stadium and pictures and video and everything, so people can come and look what the new stadium's going to look like. Only in America would you have an office for that. But they do. So they showed what the new stadium's going to look like and blah, blah. Fuck. It was, out of all the episodes, it was the most boring. The only part that kept me interested was to see if Ryan Starr made it, because he was one of the focal points. He made it. All the other young guys they followed, outside of Hageman, got cut.
Yeah.
Cupcake. All these guys got cut. So it's pretty much a veteran team. Shambo is going to be starting at middle linebacker, though. I'm interested to see him play. That might be my game to flip back and forth to, is Atlanta and New Orleans on Sunday.
Did they show much of Matthews taking over at left tackle?
Nothing.
Okay. Because that kind of intrigued me, too, after the injury to Baker.
No, nothing on him.
Okay.
The guys that were going to make the team, the high draft picks, they didn't really show them. Like Hageman didn't really have much on.
Yeah, okay.
After episode 4. It was mostly, they focused on Yates in the beginning because of the preseason game, and he had a good game. And then it was the young guys. So
it's the most reality TV in the classic sense of the Hard Knocks series, the final episode. It's sort of resolving storylines that, to a certain extent, they themselves have created.
Yeah.
But I'll watch it tomorrow. But as I said, it honestly just slipped my mind. I was looking at actual Week 1 lines.
Didn't help me much tonight, though.
But Week 1 lines are here.
Yeah, let's do that.
And that's why we're here. So we've got 16. We're going to blast through them really quick. If we have an interest in betting them, we're going to talk about them a little more. The rest of the games, we'll give our opinion on what you should take in pool play. But we'll probably zip through the games pretty quick. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes. Outside of the games we're going to bet on, or that are going to be in our mix,
or at least
to bet
interest us.
Yeah.
Okay. The season starts in Seattle, the Super Bowl champs. Green Bay is coming to town. Green Bay are 5.5-point underdogs.
I don't want to bet this game.
Okay, that's a bit of a relief. I don't hate this game.
No, me either, but first game of the season, Green Bay still has Aaron Rodgers. Seattle's defense against Oakland looked average, and I know it was just the final preseason game, but it was their first string defense on for the first 2 touchdowns. And they weren't getting much of a pass rush. The Raiders ran the ball on them, threw the ball on them. They looked confused. And I doubt that's going to happen come tomorrow.
No.
Or Thursday, but it's not. There's too many variables here. I'm still not sold on Russell Wilson.
The stomping they laid on Denver, there's a big difference between Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. In that Peyton is and will always be a statue. Aaron Rodgers has hugely underrated feet. If he can move the pocket around, I don't think it'll be the same thing. I'm really confident in Seattle minus 5.5, but I didn't want to bet it either.
No, the Thursday games are always weird. Doesn't matter how you draw it up. Seattle's only lost, I think, 1 game in the last 2 years.
Arizona beat them late last season. Is the only game they've lost in 2 years at home. But nevertheless, I mean, if we can't find anything else on this board, and let's face it, week 1 is hard.
And they did lose Brandon Browner in the defensive secondary.
But he was in and out with...
No, but he was at the end of the year, he was there.
Yes.
Well, he was suspended last year for 4 games at the start of the year. But for the majority of that season, he was there. So they've had changes too. Like they've got Percy Harvin at receiving.
Russell Wilson, All-American boy, got divorced 2 years after getting married, supposedly because Golden Tate slept with his wife. I have no idea of the veracity of that. I don't utterly hate it. I'm fairly confident in Seattle, but I don't want to bet it.
No.
So where would you go for a pool player?
Take the Seahawks minus 5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, moving on to the early Sunday games. We have Oakland at the Jets. Oakland are 5.5-point dogs.
Stay away from this game, too.
I somewhat disagree.
No.
It does go against our principle of try to avoid games between 2 shitty teams. I understand that. I think the Jets are much shittier than Oakland, believe it or not.
No, I'm not betting on a rookie quarterback against Rex Ryan's defense. You can't forget that defense was good last year. It wasn't the defense's fault they lost.
They were great against the run, but they were terrible against the pass.
And the Raiders got fucking hammered in New York last year with another rookie quarterback.
In fact, I believe they haven't won on the East Coast in 22 tries or something. So that's fair enough.
It's starting at 9 o'clock West Coast time or 8 o'clock West Coast time.
But they flew out Thursday.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Sorry, I'm going by Alberta time here. Sorry. I'm looking at the schedule, and it's got our time listed for the start. And I'm going, okay, 9. Oh, no, 8. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
No, fair enough. I don't hate this game, and my opinion is take Oakland in the points.
Let's see, I would take the Jets minus 5.5.
Okay.
I don't think Derek Carr has as big a game as he did against Seattle.
Oh, in the fourth week of preseason, you don't think that's a perfect indicator of regular season?
I'll take a top 7-8 defense from last year over a rookie quarterback in the NFL with limited wide receivers, and
I'd rather have run DMC and Maurice Jones-Drew than Chris Johnson, though, at this stage.
Washed up.
And, well, they're all washed up. And,
I know. But I'll take the team with the better defense in this one, especially with the young quarterbacks. I'll take the team with the best defense.
There are no quarterbacks involved in this game. It's a quarterback-free game.
And Carr might be good someday. He's more a quarterback I like. He reminded me of Rodgers, actually, in that Seattle game. He could move around in the pocket, but he wasn't running. He was still looking downfield.
Oh, really? So he didn't look like Terrell Pryor or one of those.
He's going to be good.
And run?
I think he's going to be good. As much as I'm down on young quarterbacks.
Weirdly, I think Oakland might be a value pick for us at some point this season. I understand why you're rejecting that, but... No, Oakland isn't the worst team out there. The Jets might be one.
They're going to be close.
Okay.
So who are we? I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, and I'm taking
Oakland.
-5.5. And I'm taking the points. Okay. Next game up, Washington is +3 at Houston.
Stay away from that one, too.
Oh, this is a total stay away. And I'm taking Houston, and we've discussed that we're going to fight about this.
No, I would take Houston in this one, too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Just pass rush and everything.
Yeah, it's pass rush.
Cushing's back. Their defense wasn't terrible last year.
Washington has a decent receiving core. Alfred Morris isn't terrible. But let's face it, Houston wasn't a 2-14 club last year. They weren't that bad.
The only thing that scares me is Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Well, and that's why I've said we have the dispute about it on a regular basis. Washington's offensive line is truly atrocious.
Well, their offense was
I don't like Gruden as a coach. I still have no idea how he was promoted to a head coach. And we said that last year many times. Well, no, and it's also the last name.
Yeah, but
this is a pedigree promotion.
What do you think Dan Snyder went after John and ended with Jay?
Well, yeah, they both had the same initial. He could have screwed up a read, but I have no idea what he did in Cincy when your quarterback collapses in the playoffs and against good opposition for a general rule, why that deserves promotion to head coaching status.
Cincinnati, you mean?
Oh, what did I say?
Kansas City.
Okay, no, sorry, I meant Cincinnati. My mistake. I have no idea what on that resume made you think he was ready for head coaching duties.
No, well, Kyle Shanahan's offensive coordinator in Cleveland, so what the fuck does it mean? I have no clue what it takes.
Another one a person who had the same last name, and that will come up again in these discussions, by the way. Okay, so that's a stay away game. We're both on Houston, though.
Yeah.
3 points at home is not a bunch to lay when you have a really talented front seven. Secondary's weak, but a talented front seven versus a terrible offensive line and J.J. Watt's involved. I love Houston in this, frankly. If we can't find anything, we might come back to this.
Oh, I think we'll find some stuff.
Okay. And you've got to remember, though, I've read Houston pretty well for the last 2 years. So
yes,
I do have a finger on the
pulse. But I watched
pulse.
Ryan Fitzpatrick for 12 games last year.
Fair enough.
If it was anybody but Washington, I'd be taking the other team.
I thought you'd even want Washington on there just to oppose me.
No.
I think Houston's a 7-win team, maybe an 8-win team, but
that's asking for a lot.
Okay. Next game up, we have New Orleans, favored by 3 going to Atlanta.
I don't mind New Orleans in this game. They're going to put up a ton of points, but against Atlanta last year when Atlanta was healthy, they won by a point. Wasn't it? Was it a 2-point conversion? Or no, it was 23-17 or something. That was
2 years ago.
No, last year too.
Okay.
They played for opening game of the season. Shit.
Do you have a read on Atlanta's defense? Like, I looked long and hard at this game, and I couldn't figure out, does Atlanta have a defense at all?
Well, Hard Knocks didn't really focus much on defense. They didn't show anything, really. They showed Croy Bierman a bit, and a lot of the rookies working on defensive line, but they didn't really show, and they showed more, the safety, him and Roddy White always jerking around in practice, but there wasn't a lot. 23-17 last year.
Okay.
And the Falcons had the ball inside the 10 on the last drive and couldn't get a touchdown. So,
like, this game interests me, and I don't hate New Orleans, but should we call a Hard Knocks 1-week moratorium?
Well, yeah, I don't mind the Saints in this, but that game last year was in New Orleans too. So,
well, they played twice.
Yeah, but that was in New Orleans, the first game of the year last year. And the New Orleans just hung on to win. That was when Atlanta was at full strength. Still had Julio Jones. Roddy White wasn't hurt. They had Tony Gonzalez. Their defense wasn't decimated. It was a different team at the start of the year than where they finished. So
the over-under number on this is 51.5, and I'm finding that makes a lot of sense because I think both of these teams are going to score points. And I just kind of want to stay away because Hard Knocks does sort of pervert your perception of a team.
Yeah, and I want to see what they have on defense.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the one Rob Ryan did an amazing job with the defense of the Saints last year. Is it sustainable?
Was that an aberration, though? He had one good year in Oakland, too.
Exactly. Went to Dallas, had a disastrous year with, Dallas's personnel in the year he was there wasn't that terrible.
No.
And it was a disastrous year, but maybe you just go to Dallas and suck. But I just want to stay away, though I really like New Orleans in this game. And I don't like taking road favorites.
And the odds are, it's plus 100 for the Saints at -3.
Okay, should I circle this as maybe something we'll come back to?
Yeah, but see, that scares me when Vegas has got it like that. That's basically saying -3, and we're giving you plus 100 because we want you to bet it.
Yeah, it's a free half point.
It's like, okay, we don't think New Orleans is going to win, but this is how the money's coming in.
But New Orleans looks pretty good.
I know on paper, but what's
not even on paper. When I've watched them, they look fast.
But
they look crisp. Like
Marlon, Vegas is never wrong on this shit. We find it out every year. 2.5. What's the final? Oh, they won by 2.
Yeah,
it's fucking insane how good they are at setting lines on this shit. And when the Falcons are +3 and -120,
who's rushing the passer from the Falcons though?
Bierman. That's about it.
What, he was good for 5.5, 6 sacks last year?
Well, he was hurt all year. He got hurt in game.
Yeah, so where's their pass rush? And if you give Breeze time and those weapons, he's going to carve you up.
Yeah, but their defense isn't a whole lot different from last year, and they got beat 23-17.
But that was
in
before.
New Orleans.
That was
in
before.
New Orleans.
Yeah, I know, but that was before the floor fell out.
No, I know, but I'm saying in New Orleans with basically the same offensive unit they have this year.
Yeah.
And the same defensive unit they have this year for Atlanta, they got beat on a couple of last-second defensive plays at the goal line by the Saints defense.
Okay,
and
well,
the way this line is set up, it's like almost like a sucker bet.
Yeah, but
They're
don't
trying
read
to
too
entice
much
you to
into
take
the
the
line
Saints.
movement because they take a number and they
No,
ultimately.
it's not the movement. It's the plus 100 on the spread. That's
just because they don't want to move it a half point, though people are jumping on Atlanta. And you know the principle, fade the public. That means people are jumping on Atlanta, but they don't want to bump it to 3.5, which changes things monstrously.
Yeah, but then everybody'd bet Atlanta. And if Vegas was sure New Orleans, they'd move it that to half point. This is the plus 100 is to entice you to bet on New Orleans. Why would you take Atlanta minus 120 when you can get a team was one of the best teams in the NFC last year at plus 100? They're trying to get you to bet on New Orleans. That's what scares me. That plus 100 to me means bet New Orleans.
Yeah,
you're going against a 3-win team last year?
It's only a dime. That's really bunner. They haven't even moved the line a half point. So
there's very few lines where the favorite is plus 100.
Yeah, but that also means that most of the money is coming in Atlanta, and so fade the public. I'm going to bubble that for now. We might return to that in our discussion.
Okay.
Next game, Cleveland, 6.5-point dogs to Pittsburgh.
I don't really
way too fucking high.
Yeah, I don't like this one either. Steelers have had offensive line problems for the last 3 years.
Cleveland's defense is quietly good.
Oh, I don't even know that this year. If it's any better or worse than last year, they traded guys. They got rid of young guys for older guys. We talked about that during the offseason.
Yeah.
I don't know what either one of these teams has right now.
No, I agree. And these
Emmanuel Sanders for the Browns or for the
North
Steelers
matchups are goddamn swamp pit fighting.
And we got to see even in the other game this week in that division, I don't know, but we'll get to that. But it's
a stay away. I'm going to take Cleveland in the points.
Okay.
I think 6.5 is way more than Pittsburgh should be laying to fuck near anybody right now.
Well, I'm going to go against you on that and take the Steelers 6.5. I think the Browns. Who's playing wide receiver for them? They got Miles Austin from Dallas.
Yeah, and so you've got Antonio Brown from Pittsburgh and nothing else there. These
Sanders.
are ugly football teams.
Oh, no, Sanders in Denver. Yeah. Well, the Pittsburgh's going to run the ball. And we'll see what Ben Tate and
Terrence West.
Yeah, Terrence West has for Cleveland on the running game.
And
but no, I take the Steelers in the pool.
And what's his name from Pittsburgh is the running back.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell has averaged a startling 3.2 against second-tier defenses in the preseason when he's not caught smoking joints with Blunt. So, that's just my opinion. At home. Yeah, no, fair enough. I just think 6.5 is way too much.
Yeah, we had the Browns winning less than what?
6.5.
Yeah.
So
this isn't going to be one.
I don't think Cleveland's good, and I certainly wouldn't throw extra money at this game. But I think these are two ugly teams, and Steelers fans, Pittsburgh isn't good.
No, but they'll probably be 8-8.
Their defense has been average, and you can only say we always have a great defense so long before the numbers show that you actually haven't had a good defense in about half a decade.
They'll probably be 7-9, 8-8 again. They're not horrible, but they're certainly better than Cleveland. And at home, I'll take the Steelers on opening weekend.
Fair enough. The next game, New England is favored by 4.5 going to Miami.
See, and I say stay away from this one too. Just because Miami always seems to have Brady's number in Miami. Or not always, but a lot of the time.
Actually, Miami has always been a tough game for Brady, or at least in the last 3 years or so.
But
he wins by a small amount. I initially liked this game because New England is far more talented, far better coached, and they have Tom Brady. But
whatever the reason.
I have no idea what the reason is there.
They don't play well in Miami, or it's close. They win like last-minute drive, last-minute field goal. But and this is a big game for the division. Like if Miami has any hope, and there's people picking them to win that division or be right there with the Patriots, they have to win this game. I just don't see it. But I can't bet on New England. If Gronkowski doesn't play, what the fuck are they throwing to? Amendola? And fucking Edelman.
Shane Vereen.
Yeah, okay.
No, 4.5 is a little too much. I'm kind of with you. I want to stay away, but I'm very comfortable pool playing taking New England in this game.
Yeah, I'd take Miami in the points in this one.
Okay.
Because it's always within
only at 4.5. Okay.
It's usually within a field goal. I don't necessarily think Miami's going to win, but it's going to be fucking close.
I think everyone's talking about Miami, and you know what? Last year I fell into that, and I kind of believed Miami would be threatening a bit. But you know what? They're still Miami. They're still Tannehill. They're a terrible football team, with the exception of Cameron Wake. Perhaps Tannehill. I don't think Tannehill's terrible, but ultimately, I get down to it. No Sean Moreno. Really?
Well, he ran for 200 against him last year.
Yeah. Well, let's just say there was a different man lining up under center.
No, I know, but I'm just
in shotgun. But
I wasn't basing it on what everybody was saying.
Yeah, no, that was fair enough. It's just, you know what? I'm still on New England on this.
Brady in Miami, for whatever reason, weird shit happens and the games are close.
No, and that's a totally valid point, which is why I'm not saying we bet on it. I think we
won a bet when they threw a 2-point conversion or stopped a 2-point conversion in one of those games and a couple of years back. Either Brady got the 2-pointer or we won because they stopped it. I can't remember which way it went, but these games are always a field goal game.
Yeah, they're inexplicably tight based on what has been the average talent level between these two teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand your stay away, but I'm all over New England on this. Next game up. Buffalo goes to Chicago as 7-point underdogs.
See, I would rather take this game.
Fuck yes. I like this game a lot.
The Bills are horrible.
They had a good defense last year, most of which has either left town or gotten injured.
Their best wideout is hurt with bad ribs. CJ Spiller and Fred Jackson, who's starting, who's coming in. Jackson will probably get the majority of the carries after they said last year they were going to feed Spiller till he puked. Well, I guess he puked after about 8 carries. Bears have Marshall and Jeffrey at wideout.
Matt Forte,
Cutler, a brilliant offensive head coach, Tressman from the CFL, believe it or not. And I think they're going to put up a ton of points this year if Cutler stays healthy. It's going to be a good year for Chicago.
Even if Chicago's defense is as terrible as it was last year, they can shoot it out with this Buffalo team. And for every 7 Buffalo scores, Chicago should score 21. This is my opinion. I like this game a lot, too.
Yeah, me too. So should we book this one?
Book it.
Okay.
I don't want it to go to 7.5.
Ah, crud. Give me a second. Hit the wrong button.
Well, that's fine. But, no, just to touch on what you said, Chicago has weapons. They seem to have improved their defense, at least on paper. Will it work? They're still soft in the middle. Unless CJ Spiller suddenly achieves that potential which he has not in the last 3 years. I'm so sick of hearing people tout him for his potential. But even if he does, I think Chicago can still outscore them.
Yes.
If it's a shoot 'em up, Chicago's got way more weapons.
Well, the Bills have no wide receivers, no tight end to speak of.
And no quarterback.
No, EJ Manuel isn't the answer.
You know, he might not be bad on another team.
No, he's not good.
He showed some flashes, but...
No, he's not good.
And, you know, Kiko Alonso is gone on injury on defense for Buffalo. Buffalo had a great defense for the last few years, but it's left town and it's gotten injured.
So our $10 bet will pay us $19.52.
Okay.
It is booked. Man, I hate going almost blind. I'm looking at it. Is that 1852? 1952? It's 1952. Goddamn
yeah, that makes
fig.
more sense because we're only giving up a nickel.
Yeah, goddamn fig. I hate it.
All right, we caught something, so it's clear where we are on that one.
Yes.
We like Chicago. 7's a big spread to lay in week one, and I don't like that much, but Buffalo's in the fight for the worst 4 teams in the league once again.
Yeah.
And Chicago, one of the top 15. Okay, next game up, we have Jacksonville, 11-point dogs at Philly.
Okay, I don't want to bet this game, so let's not spend a ton of time on it because I don't think you do either. I'm going to take the Eagles minus 11.
Really?
Cool. Yeah.
I'm going the other way.
They're going to score a ton of fucking points.
11 points is way too much for a team that really doesn't appear to have a defense.
With Chad Henne, two rookie wide.
Well, if I'd known they had 2 Wookiees, man, we're betting our whole bankroll on the Wookiees.
2 rookie wide receivers along with Cecil Shorts.
No, I'm taking Jacksonville in the points. 11 points for a team that has no defense at all? Ridiculous.
The Eagles are going to score... They're going to come close to the most points scored in a season record this year.
Throwing to exactly who?
LaShawn McCoy and Darren Sproles.
Okay.
Who did they throw to last year?
So that the same argument about New England where I said they'd throw to Shane Vereen. So Jason Avant and Macklin are
and
your
Riley
wideouts.
Cooper. How many touchdowns did Riley Cooper have last year? He had close to 1,000 yards receiving.
The deceptive receiving yards, but again,
How is it deceptive? No. How is it deceptive receiving yards? They're running the same offense.
Yeah, but like 3 of his touchdowns were they basically didn't bother covering him.
Yards.
He lobbed the ball over the heads of everyone and he ran, and people fell down. But
yards. Okay.
No argument. Let's not talk about this game.
The Eagles' offense, you're basically saying the Eagles' offense was because every defense they played was crap.
Cooper's numbers were crap. But
well, he's on an
let's
offense.
Not waste a lot of time.
No, but just this. No, that bugged me. This offense that runs the fastest no huddle in the league and runs more plays per game than any team in the league, who had the quarterback with the best touchdown to interception ratio last year, wasn't all fluke. And against a team that has no appreciable defense, when Cleveland put up 30 on them last year, 11 isn't out of character. We took fucking Indy on the road last year -8. And they covered by 30. This team isn't appreciably different on defense.
The last 6 games of Jacksonville, they were quite strong on defense last year. You know, it's a system. I just don't think any team should be laying 11 on anyone in week 1. I just think that's way too many points.
If it was anybody but Jacksonville's going to be in the top 3 picks again next year.
You could be right.
And the Eagles are going to be one of the top 3 seeds in the NFC this year.
Well, I think they're definitely going to win that division. Bye-bye Dallas bet. Again. But, yeah, we'll see. I just think 11's strong.
Okay.
Next game up, we're not allowed to bet on because you were a fan of the Titans. Tennessee are getting 3.5 going to KC.
Well, until I see them play, I'm taking Tennessee. I can't.
I genuinely like Tennessee to win this game.
The only thing
not only cover, to win.
No, I know. But the only thing that gives me pause is that we're switching to a 4-3. Or a 3-4, sorry, from a 4-3. I'm not... Or no, a 3-4... A 4-3 from a 3-4.
KC was the flukiest bloody team last year.
Yeah, but they can score.
Can they?
Yeah.
They got to play... Like, their defense was so vaunted. They played at one point 4 backup quarterbacks in a row.
No, I know, but their defense before they had injuries later in the year
and
was
their wideouts
was decent.
Their wideouts are?
No, I know.
But their wideouts suspended for this game.
Their wideouts were the same as last year.
Name another one. Tennessee has
Richter.
Was he there? Really? Was that a legitimate answer? Okay.
He was
That's another CFL callback.
Yeah.
Tennessee has a terrific offensive line.
2 good wideouts.
You've touted 2 really good wideouts with upside, like underrated wideouts. You've touted that when Locker is healthy, he looks like the real deal. I mean, obviously, we're not betting this.
I'm confident.
But I'm just saying that this is my upset pick of the week. That Tennessee is not only going to cover the 3.5. I fucking love them to win this game.
Well, we would have beat them last year had Locker been healthy. But the only thing is the defense when the starters were in this year was awful in the preseason. Awful.
Yeah, but
Marlon, it was awful.
Okay, I'll take your word on that because I really didn't spend a lot of time watching Tennessee preseason. I'm sure you understand.
We didn't
watched the same amount of Chargers shit, but
we didn't tackle. We couldn't cover anybody.
I still like this. This is my upset pick of the week. I really like Tennessee in this game. Really, quite a lot. If it wasn't prescribed, I would go at it. Again, KC, you just look at what happened to them last year. It was a bizarre confluence of events that led to that record.
No, I know. Jamal Charles scares me because we couldn't tackle in the preseason. The receivers don't. But they had no receivers last year and we couldn't finish them off.
No.
So...
No, fair enough. But I love the game, and I think you're going to get a victory.
Well, I hope you're right.
Next game up, we have Cincinnati. 1.5-point dogs going to Baltimore.
I have no faith in Baltimore, but Cincy just can't seem to win there.
No, Dalton, as mediocre as he always is, he totally is shitty versus Baltimore. Like, they've had some victories against Baltimore, but that's in spite of Dalton. I really don't believe in Baltimore. Their run defense is pretty good, though, which I think works against Cincy, which their strength is Bernard and Hill, the new rookie. This is just a pure stay away. This is a coin flip to me.
Yeah.
And much as it sickens me to say, I'm probably taking Baltimore.
Yeah, me as well.
I really wish I could get behind Cincy in this game, but I don't buy it.
But if Pitt is healthy, did Geno Atkins play at all in the preseason?
Yeah, he played in the preseason and he was terrible. I watched a highlight reel. He doesn't look like Geno Atkins yet. He's coming back too soon, and honestly, I would look at benching him for 4 weeks. Because when you have a legitimate stud, I don't think you should put him on the field after injury recovery.
Well, and their D coordinator's now the head coach of Minnesota. And I think he was one of the main reasons why that defense was as good as it was.
Yeah. There's a lot to like about Cincy and very little to like about Baltimore, but Baltimore... It's into that same Pittsburgh thing. They look like a middle-of-the-road piece of shit team. I just want to stay away from this one.
I don't want to touch it.
Pool. If I was in a pool where you could just get one game gone, it would be this one. Because I have no idea. So I'm going to take the home team.
Yeah, we both like the Ravens.
Next game up, we have Minnesota going to the Rams. They are 3.5-point dogs. Rams, dude.
No.
No, seriously.
No.
No. Okay.
With their backup quarterback.
Yeah, okay, let's hear about their backup quarterback. Career. 61.9 completion. Bradford, 58.6. Hill, 41 TDs, 23 interceptions. Bradford, 59.38. The quarterback rating, 85.9 for Hill, 79.3 for Bradford. Hill can run at 4.4 yards attempt, and Hill, 6.69 per attempt on his career. Bradford, 6.29. Per completion, 10.79 Hill, 10.72 Bradford. Why did anyone ever think Bradford was good?
Well, I'm not claiming either one of them are any fucking good. They're both shit.
And Minnesota's shittier because St. Louis has the best front seven in football.
Yeah, how many games they win last year? I'll believe after a couple of weeks, but I'm not betting anything on St. Louis this week. There's no damn way.
Really?
No.
Okay, I can't even tempt you with the fade the public in that Vegas, who, are so good at this, had this game at 6. The public has bet it down to 3.5.
You honestly want to put $10 on a 6-10, 7-9 team in week 1? Either way?
Unless you got something better. Because, as you said, Vegas is amazingly good at this. And what they're telling me is they put the Rams in as a 6-point favorite. They're now a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah,
because
okay,
of public betting. But this is your own argument.
No. But just listen to some other reasoning. Norv Turner in that offense with a veteran quarterback. He's got Cordero Patterson, Kyle Rudolph, Adrian Peterson.
Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator in Cleveland last year. How many games did they win?
Do you not think they have Matt Castle? I know he's not great, but he's better than what Cleveland had after Hoyer went down. They were 4-3 when Hoyer went down.
Okay. St. Louis has one of the better linebacking cores in the league. So all Norv Turner did with Cleveland was throw to the tight end. St. Louis was one of the best teams against the tight end last year.
Does Adrian Peterson not factor into this game planning at all for the defense to draw those linebackers down?
Stacy only had 150 yards less than Adrian Peterson last year.
I'm talking about game planning. So Peterson's not going to suck linebackers in on play action at all? They don't have to respect him?
And Castle's got a deep ball?
A 20-yarder to a tight end?
No, I don't see it like
Is that
this.
A deep ball? I can't bet on the Rams. They're an awful team. They have no wideouts. They have Zach Stacy and a fucking backup that's average. You're making it sound like they're throwing in fucking, I don't even know who, Nick Foles or something.
No, Sean Hills is every bit as good as Bradford.
Yeah, but what did they win with Bradford? What did they win with Bradford?
They won nothing with Bradford.
And that's what they're going to win with Sean Hill.
They won a chunk with Kellen Clemens.
They're not... What?
And a powered running game. Minnesota has no line left. Literally no defensive line.
You're not going to change my mind on the Rams. I'm sorry. On the two shitty team scale, these are still two shitty teams. And 3.5 for a shitty team?
Okay, well, we might have to revisit New Orleans, Atlanta, because Vegas is so good at this, and they put the Rams in at 6-point favorites, and we could buy them at 3.5.
But so you honestly think this is a good Rams team?
No, I think they're a hell of a lot better than the Vikings, though. But again, if you're saying that the plus 100 is a beg to bet on New Orleans,
I would rather bet on New Orleans. I would rather bet on Drew 2.5.
The public has moved the points 2.5 because, oh my God, Bradford is injured. The fact is Bradford being injured is of no significance. He's being replaced by someone who is probably superior. Because Bradford
so I'm betting on a game. I would rather bet on Drew Brees at plus 100 than Sean Hill at 110.
Okay.
And 3.5.
All right. I'm just saying. You were saying Vegas is amazing at this.
They are. And that game will end up Minnesota by 3.
All right. I think
by a field goal or some fucking thing.
See, I like this game a lot, so... You like Minnesota?
We had betting rules about the shitty team bet.
We had betting
shit teams? Yeah, no, I know, but are these not two shitty teams?
Mm-hmm. It's week 1. No one knows who's shitty and who's good.
Okay, are either of these teams making the playoffs? In your opinion, then they're shitty teams.
Okay.
And New Orleans is going to win that division this year probably again. So if we have to bet that game, I would rather bet that.
Okay. I just said we had to revisit it then if you were, rejecting your previous argument.
No. I said Vegas is good at setting lines. If the betting line...
Vegas set the line at 6.
Yeah.
And we could buy the game at 3.5. Because the only reason it moved from 6 to 3.5 is because Sam Bradford was injured. And the fact is Sam
but I
Bradford...
would take St. Louis at 6. Would you take St. Louis at 6?
No, but now that we can get him at 3.5, I love it.
They would be...
We're getting 2.5 points from a public.
Every home
from a public move. And what's another one of our guidelines? Fade the public.
Every home team is a 3-point favorite going in. Before they even look at the fucking line, there's 3 points.
Okay.
So they're a 0.5-point favorite over the Vikings with a backup quarterback and a running game.
And, this team... What about the Vikings do you like? What
I don't like anything about either team.
Okay.
That's the problem. And I don't like betting on teams that are full of crap. They're crap. They have fucking Jared Cook at tight end, backup quarterback, Tavon Austin as a receiver, and nobody else. And I'm supposed to be excited about their front seven scoring points? I don't get
Stop them. Well, you've got Zach Stacy, who is a boring runner at 3.8 yards a carry.
And they have Jeff Fisher, who wins every game by 2 points. What am I missing? He's never played a game to win by more than 3. Ever. I watched him for 15 fucking years.
That is a good point. That one amuses me. But
I
like this game. So I think we know where we're going on pool. I'm going Rams. You're going Minnesota.
Vikings.
Okay. Bahoo! Gonna blow the big horn?
No, only if Minnesota wins.
Okay, moving to the afternoon games. Carolina. 2-point dogs now to Tampa Bay.
I'll bet this game.
Which side?
Tampa. Carolina's going to stink. Do you not agree?
Yeah.
The defense can't carry him this year.
Tampa Bay had more talent than their record last year. I'm not in love with it.
They've got a decent quarterback compared to last year, even though I didn't mind Glennon at the end of the year.
Okay. Are either of these teams making the playoffs?
Way better coach.
Are either of these teams making the playoffs?
I think Tampa's better than St. Louis.
Are either of these teams making the playoffs?
No.
Okay, they're two shitty teams.
Okay, fair enough. Move on. I'll take Tampa in the pool.
Okay.
If we're going to be picking games like this, if you make an argument at one point and it's just continually throwing back, we'll just pick the games we're going to bet.
No, well, I'm just saying. If
everything I've said tonight,
as a citation,
you said Vegas says they're good. I can't make a statement and then not have it thrown back in another bet. That's going to force me to bet on another game. I passed on the Saints. I just was making a point about Vegas wants you to bet the Saints. That's why it's plus 100. Was my point. And with the betting line moving when a quarterback goes down, they move the line based on the money coming in. And I understand your point about fade the public, but they're two shitty teams. The Carolina could be 2-14 this year, and I think Tampa Bay's 7-9. So when we've got one game bet, that was one I would bet. All I was saying.
And Minnesota St. Louis was one game, and you said we had a rule about two shitty teams. If you're gonna throw stuff in my face.
Moving on.
All right. San Fran -4.5 versus Dallas.
I'll bet this one to the house. We bet against Dallas every fucking game in the preseason and won. Worst defense in the last how long?
Third worst in history, I believe.
Last year, and they might be worse this year. Do you have a problem with this game? What have I said prior that can be thrown back now? Am I wrong on that? Do you like this one at all?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Because other than this game, I don't know. There's nothing else left. Because I don't really like Detroit.
I love Denver.
That's true. That's getting big, though, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's finish on this game. San Fran. I know their defense is.
They looked
decimated.
Atrocious in the preseason, but what does the preseason mean?
Well, nothing with them.
Yeah.
Dallas looked worse.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's going to be a shoot 'em up. I think San Fran, at least until injuries and suspensions come in, are going to struggle on defense a bit. This is a show-me game from Kaepernick, so show me. And I don't mind the potential of him doing it. The way he's lit up Green Bay, which is very similar to Dallas's defense, soft all over, no secondary. I think Kaepernick lights it up.
And I do too, but I think it's more running. I think it's as much they'll control the clock and just pound Dallas into the dirt. Because if your defense is hurting and you have a strong running game, you have a running quarterback, possession receivers all over the place, they'll just control the clock. I think they win by a touchdown, at least. Dallas
touchdown 10 points. I mean, at 4.5, I like this. At 7.5, how would you feel about it?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't.
We're on the same mindset here.
But Dallas is awful. Defensively, offensively, they're still talented, but I just don't think San Francisco lets them have the ball much.
And there are three guys made out of glass.
Yeah, Murray, Bryant, and...
Like, their offense is explosive, but it's three guys made out of glass. Romo, Murray, and Bryant.
And they haven't been hit.
So...
Romo hasn't been hit. He hardly played in the preseason, but that...
I'm really disturbed about the state of San Fran's defense, but playing possum, perhaps.
Yeah, they don't usually like to show a lot in the preseason. They're pretty vanilla.
No, when you've been to the NFC Championship game 3 years in a row, what does the preseason mean to you?
Yeah.
Right? Like... I'm not buying into their demise yet.
No. Not against Dallas. If they were playing...
Dallas is going to score some points. Dallas is going to put up 17-24.
Yeah.
But, I'm not the biggest fan of Kaepernick. But against this style of defense, he's going to fucking destroy them.
Yeah, if San Fran was playing Denver or New Orleans or a team like that, yeah, I wouldn't be taking him here.
Yeah.
But this is going to be probably the worst defense in football this year they're playing against.
I really think they have potential to be the worst defense in history.
Let's hope.
I can't think of a lineman. Can't think of a linebacker now that Sean Lee's down.
No.
And... Well, actually, I was reading something, and it showed their starting defense. And I knew two people who, and I can't even remember their names now, but they were just journeymen.
Well, and they signed Michael Sam to the practice squad.
Well, good marketing on them.
Well,
but that's all I'll say.
Well,
he would have a reasonable chance of making this squad.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Is that they're signing him to the practice squad because they think he can help. And no other team wanted him.
I thought it was a pure marketing move, but you're right.
No, they think he can. He had 3 sacks in the they're looking anywhere for help.
Yeah, that's... Anyway, I do like this. Like, I'm not going to be following San Fran for betting much on this year, at least until their defense gets the house in order.
Well, we'll see what they've got
in
the first couple of weeks. If the defense looks like it did a couple of years ago with what they've lost in the backups.
Even 2/3 of what they looked like in the past couple of years. They were amazing. But this matchup...
I think they score a lot of points this year, San Fran, though.
It's certainly the year that they should.
They've got,
like I said, it's a bit of a show me year for Kaepernick in my mind.
They got Kaepernick. They got drafted Carlos Hyde to spell Gore. That they're going to give him another running back. They've got Bolden, Davis, Crabtree, all healthy. Did Stevie Johnson get cut?
Crabtree's been fighting a hamstring. That was my one worry about this game.
Did Stevie Johnson get cut, or did he make the team on the weekend?
I thought he made the team.
I was in Vegas, so I didn't see
I
it.
would have seen a headline if he didn't make the team.
Yeah, because he was on the bubble, according to some reports, but
whatever.
didn't see.
That's BS reports.
But so
no, and Kaepernick destroys Green Bay because their defense is terrible. He should, he should be at least 350 and 2 to 3 touchdowns this week.
I think
Dallas is going to score, but
I don't think they throw it that much. I'd say like between 2 and 250. I would agree 2 to 3 touchdowns, but I think they run for close to 200.
Fair enough, but we're both sort of in the zone of a 7 to 10 point comfortable win for the Niners.
Yeah, if not more. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 17 to 21.
And I don't even see a backdoor cover haunting us on this game.
No.
Okay.
I hope not. Okay, so $10 bet pays $19.09. See, was that so hard?
All right. Hey, you shoot down my ideas. I'll use your arguments against you.
Next.
Indy, 7.5 point dogs going to Denver. I like this game.
I would at 7.
The half point's troubling, but Indy has no defense.
No.
Kansas City, who we just talked about, and don't take this as throwing.
Oh yeah, and their Mathis isn't playing.
Mathis isn't even there. KC was running utterly amok.
Oh yeah, Monte Ball.
Yeah. I mean, Denver can slow this game down. They've improved their defense significantly.
They haven't dropped off at wide receiver.
No.
Sanders takes Decker's spot.
And God, again, don't read much into preseason, but he had a blistering fucking preseason.
Well, now they have 2 wideouts, or they can put him in the slot.
Welker's suspension for Molly means fuck nothing. He was irrelevant.
Yeah, they still have. Yeah, they've got Sanders.
They
Thomas
brought in
and
Sanders to replace Welker anyway, so it's happening a bit early. That's all that means. Denver has, if not a great defense, a very credible defense. A defense that can hold a lead. Indy has no O-line. Nothing.
No wide receivers outside of Reggie Wayne right now. Well, Hilton.
Hilton's not terrible, but he's got one move. It's a fly route with a double move, and he gets behind the coverage. That's all he can do. Trust me, I owned him last year in fantasy, and I watched him, and I just thought, fuck. Like, you can't... Like, he can never make a stutter across the middle. Like, nothing. He's like a guy with amazing speed and talent who doesn't work at the game. Indy is absurdly lucky. They have no... Yeah, I know the quarterback's name is Luck. Fuck off. You know what I mean? But yeah. They've been absurdly lucky in the last 2 years because their quarterback is amazing. They have Trent Richardson running the ball.
Who's the backup there?
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Oh, yeah. If he was healthy, he'd be starting. But that's the story of his career.
But he wouldn't be starting because of the argument that you made correctly to me years ago that once GMs make a terrible decision, they will not back down on it.
Yeah, they basically doubled down on it.
Yeah. So we've got Richardson with his 2.9 against a fairly stout Denver line. And once Denver gets a lead, I love this game, actually.
Yeah. No, you convinced me. I'm in.
Okay.
The only scary thing on 7.5 is the backdoor cover.
And Luck's kind of a hero at that.
But Manning
screwed
wants...
us on Denver, but...
No, Manning wants all the records. He wants... They've got a chip on their shoulder. They're going to come out flying. Just like last year. They'll put up
Aqib
42.
Talib can shut down... I assume they'll put him on Hilton.
And
just to stop the home run ball. And
then
they'll play their other corners.
No, they'll just double them. They don't even have to.
On Wayne underneath.
Yeah, he's not going to beat you deep. So you go one-on-one with Wayne and you double Hilton and it's over. Because, Rich, you don't have to worry about the run. Richardson isn't going to beat you.
Well, and even if he breaks through the line, I was reading, I believe today, he's had something like 3 runs over 20 yards in his career thus far. This isn't Jamal Charles or Shady McCoy.
No. And he got traded for a first-round pick.
Yeah. It's not like he's going to burst through the line. So, yeah, even if they want to put 6 in the box and let him take 4.5, fine. Do it. Do it all day long. The only crazy factor there is Andrew Luck is fucking amazing.
No, Peyton Manning at night. National TV.
Though, well,
that's all you would have to say.
That trend has failed off, but...
Not really. He did lose that game in New England, but he had put up, 28 in the first half?
Yeah.
But they're a much better team this year defensively, so I don't think they lose leads like that again. Regardless of who's quarterbacking. So we've got Denver minus 7.5 at home against the Colts. $10 pays $19.09. Done. Okay. So our bets are done.
Now we're on to Monday night. We have the Giants 5.5-point dogs to Detroit. Another game I would have considered betting. The Giants are dreadful. We bet them at the under 7.5 as soon as the season over-unders came out.
Yeah, they haven't shown anything to make
that was one of my better calls. I believe I brought that one in and you just said, yeah, okay, that was a good call, Marlon.
Yeah. So, yeah, in the pool, I would take Detroit.
Yeah. And I would seriously have considered this game if we hadn't found 3.
Yeah, who did they get it? Oh, they got Golden Tate opposite Calvin Johnson. So it should help.
You've got Joik Bell, Reggie Bush. Joik Bell is better than Bush, by the way. Both at catching the ball and running the ball.
And they drafted another tight end. And they've got Foria from last year, who was a good goal line presence.
Yeah, great red zone threat.
So they're going to be tough. The NFC North is going to be tough this year.
Tough in
Chicago,
the sense
Green
is
Bay,
you
and
better
Detroit.
Score points. No one has a defense.
Detroit's might be the best. To be honest.
My God, that's crazy.
But it might be. When you look at what Chicago and Green Bay have, at least they've got Sue and Fairley up front.
And Fairley being moved to third string, supposedly lost 15 pounds and got refocused. Yeah. Their secondary is a nightmare, but pass rush protects the secondary if you can get that pass rush to work.
Well, I don't even know what if it matters if you have anybody in the secondary anymore. You can't fucking touch anybody. Flag here, flag there. What difference does it make? You just got to get to the quarterback before he can throw it. That's what the games come down to now. You're trying to protect the quarterback.
True. Okay, I said this a couple of weeks ago. Let's just go back to it. With the new emphasis on flags, I said we should start the season at least betting on high-throwing teams. 2 out of 3. And I do think Kaepernick's going to light up that Dallas secondary.
Well, I can't see how they're going to stop him, but I think they'll try and control the clock more. If they think their defense is a little suspect starting the season, but that's a good call. We'll look at that next week for sure. Well, we'll be able to tell more once this is the hardest week.
Oh, it's so hard. It's just like preseason.
Because you don't know what anybody has yet. You're trying to go off last year in additions and subtractions, and it's just...
And once you get preseason, that just confuses you, really. Because preseason really doesn't mean fuck all. But the final game of the week, which we can't bet on anyway, San Diego, 3 points at Zona. I thought they would have been at least 6-point dogs on this.
They're basically a pick. This is a pick 'em at 3. That's the home team base 3 that they start with.
I don't buy it. San Diego, even though their defense improved massively, could not stop any kind of running attack. Zona's going to pound it down the Bolts' throat. I'm taking Zona.
Yeah, I have to go with Zona too. I don't mind the Chargers. This is going to be a closer game than you think.
Maybe. Zona, though, is a hellish place to play.
Yeah, but the Chargers got good running backs.
Oh, I like the Chargers'
Keenan
offense.
Allen. They still have Gates, and they got Ladarius, Green at tight end, who's supposed to be as good as Gates, or they think he's going to be as good as Gates.
He's interesting.
So this is gonna be a good game. We got one crappy game to start Monday night, and that one's gonna be a really good Monday night game.
So we've already lit our bets. What do you feel, seriously? Because if we hadn't found anything, I would have liked Detroit in that Monday night game. What was your opinion on that, really?
Yeah, I would have. I would have taken Detroit in that.
Okay, because I think the Giants might be the worst team in football.
No, Dallas is worse than the Giants.
No, Dallas has offense. The Giants have nothing.
It's going to be interesting to see. That's for sure. I would have taken Detroit in that one. Eli Manning looks awful.
He has no O-line. The running backs look like nothing. Victor Cruz can salsa his way right out of the fucking league for all I care. Their defense doesn't look good. I think the Giants are maybe the worst team in football.
Well, that division isn't going to be much of a fight. It's Philly and then everybody else.
Yeah.
Washington, to me, the rest of them are 5-11, 6-10.
Dallas at least has potential for being an explosive offense, but...
Yeah, fantasy-wise, Dallas's players are a good pick because they're going to be in high-scoring games every week.
Yeah, they can score points, but there's...
And they'll still blame it on Romo when they lose 41-38.
Oh, of course they will. But
now, I think...
Well, and then his coach will throw him under the bus because, I told him not to do that.
There's one game we're going to keep track of all our picks this year. I don't think we each picked New Orleans or Atlanta.
Thank you very much for that call. I'm going to go New Orleans.
Me too.
Okay.
I'm not getting the Hard Knocks suck in on this one, even though it served us well with Cincinnati. I just can't. I have to see what Atlanta has defensively first.
And New Orleans, I don't know. I still look at it They look like a pretty good team, and I know 1 year sample size isn't enough, but Ryan seems to have done something very interesting with that defense.
Yeah.
So,
and they still have Jimmy Graham. They still have Colston.
They're still loaded with talent.
They drafted a rookie burner at wideout. That's probably, and they got Kenny Stills from last year. They're just deep. They re-signed Meacham, I think, again. They're loaded.
Yeah, I read that today.
They're loaded.
Okay, that was an extra long episode.
Yeah, we should fight less and agree more. And we said, no, games we're not betting on, we'll go short on. And we spend 10 minutes on the Rams and Vikings. Yeah.
Well, we wasted 10 minutes on Hard Knocks. So.
Good start to the year.
All right. Let me recap our bets.
Please do.
We have Buffalo versus Chicago for $10. We have Chicago -7. We have San Fran -4.5 versus Dallas. And we have Denver -7.5 versus Indy.
Okay, 3 for 3 this week, buddy.
Yeah?
I don't know. Fuck. Our picks are as good as anybody else's, in my opinion.
Well, let's see. We're going to be posting it. We're running down our pick pools, so we're going to publish our numbers because we're not afraid.
Well, I'm afraid. I'm just ballsy enough to put them up.
Yeah. It's a subtle difference, but I see what you mean.
All right. If you want to check out our podcast, you can listen to it on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device. On our website, offensivelines.ca. Follow us on Twitter @offensivelines or facebook.com/offensivelines. And if you'd like to contact us, our email is offensivelines@shaw.ca. And I forgot 2 things. Follow us on our personal Twitter accounts @OLinesMarlon or @OLinesBoyd. I'm trying to get Marlon into the Twitterverse here. I want him to tweet during the games if he's got some thoughts about the games we bet on, anything he sees. I'm going to try and do the same so that we're a little more interactive during the game. Hopefully up our followers by 1 or 2 if we can. But yeah, enjoy the games on Sunday. It's been fucking too long since we had something to cheer about that mattered.
All right. That was Offensive Lines, and that was good advice.
That was a great out.
Fuck.
Sorry.
You confused me by screwing up your info.
You got to leave that in.
It's all on you.
That's a great out. Yeah. Good advice.
Till next Monday night is our next post. Early Tuesday morning. This was Bean Offensive Lines.
Yeah, remember Vegas knows. Look at what Vegas knows.
That wasn't any better.
Degenerate fucking gambler.